die tonight. I don't wanna live no more. Cause I hear death knocking at my front door. I'm living every day like
In the 1980s, a gritty new sound bubbled up out of America's inner cities. It was called gangster rap, music that reflected the mean streets of the inner city in a unique language called rap. The popularity of rap created a new group of celebrities almost overnight, the so-called gangster rappers. But even with stardom, the world the gangster rappers celebrated in their lyrics never seemed far away. Example? Las Vegas, September 7th, 1996.
Tupac Shakur was seated in the front passenger seat of this BMW when a white Cadillac pulled alongside and one of the four men inside it opened fire. The rapper was struck several times in the chest.
The 25-year-old Shakur, who was known as one of the bad boys of rap, died several days later in a Las Vegas hospital.
I think the public interest in the murder of Tupac not only is that he died, it's in the way he died. He sang about gangster rap, and yet he died blown away in his car. You go back to the old Elliot Ness movies, and you've got the gangsters standing out there with Thompson submachine guns shooting up the cars again.
More than anything else, Shakur represented what he called the thug life, the swaggering, tough attitude of gangster rap. A life and music that was raw, coarse, and on the edge. Trouble always seemed to find Shakur, who found himself in numerous scrapes with the law.
Shakur's police record included charges of shooting at police, carrying a loaded gun, and assault. And in 1995, a jury found him guilty of sexual abuse.
Tupac Shakur has been sentenced to a maximum of 4.5 years in prison for sexually abusing a fan.
Experts said the 8 months he spent in prison did not affect Shakur's star status. In fact, they said it may have even added to his bad boy reputation.
In the area of gangster rap, there doesn't seem to be a whole lot of room at the top. There are only a few figures who really make it big. These are the ones who are out there, who are in your face. They have the trappings of success.
It was Shakur's in-your-face persona, the experts said, that may have led to an earlier attempt on his life in 1994.
Rapper Tupac Shakur is hospitalized in guarded condition this morning after being shot outside a New York City music studio. Police say Shakur and two companions were attacked during a holdup. Shakur has 5 bullet wounds, but doctors say none are life-threatening.
It's like king of the hill. When you're up on the top, there's always somebody who's looking to push you off. If you're on the throne, the king always has to be looking around because there's someone who wants to sit in that seat and who wants to dethrone you given the opportunity.
3 days after Tupac Shakur's murder, Death Row Records released his last music video.
In the video, Shakur is gunned down, just as he was in real life. He dies and goes to heaven, where he is greeted by comedian Red Fox and a pantheon of African-American musicians.
But the violence was not over. 6 months after the drive-by shooting of Tupac Shakur, another gangster rapper was killed in a hail of bullets.
This time, 24-year-old notorious B.I.G, a.k.a. Biggie Smalls, killed in an apparent drive-by shooting outside a Los Angeles party early this morning.
Biggie Smalls was born Christopher Wallace. A tough kid from a rough neighborhood in Brooklyn, Smalls changed his name to Notorious B.I.G. and turned his gangster persona into a commercial success.
To non-fans, he was little more than a thug. But in the world of hip-hop, Notorious B.I.G. was a prince. His funeral brought out rap royalty, political and music industry elites. The controversial rapper brazenly flirted with death in his art and his life. Still, his drive-by slaying in Los Angeles last week shocked his fans.
He was a good man. He was a generous man.
It's a sad day. It's a sad day.
Within the community, Notorious B.I.G. was a symbol of wealth and success.
The women on his arms, the cars, the fast lifestyle, again, in your face. And it's something that there's a lot of people wanted to emulate. They wanted to have that. They wanted to be the Notorious B.I.G. the second, if they could, and live a lifestyle like that. But when he died and the violence that he died, it allowed us to say, whoa, That's really not what I want. You know, fame is great, but if that is the price of fame, I think a lot of people then had to take a step back again and say, too great a price, too young, too quick, too fast.
In a radio interview at KYLD-FM in San Francisco several days before his death, Notorious B.I.G. talked as if he knew what was coming.
They're going to attack you if you're on top. You know what I'm saying? That's your job to bob and weave. You know what I'm saying?
After his death, authorities began to look into the possibility that Notorious B.I.G.'s murder was in retaliation for the drive-by slaying of the man who had been his arch-rival, Tupac Shakur.
The two squabbled publicly over who had the most authentic street credentials, part of a sometimes violent struggle between East Coast and West Coast rappers for dominance of the lucrative gangster rap market. Fans on both coasts want the real-life violence to stop.
There were numerous witnesses to Notorious B.I.G.'s shooting in Los Angeles and Tupac Shakur's murder on a Las Vegas street, but both murders remained unsolved because, according to police, witnesses were reluctant to talk. While authorities were unable to find the killers of Tupac Shakur and Notorious B.I.G.,